Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into a topic that is not only historically significant, but also deeply emotional for many. We're talking about the Armenian Genocide, a series of events that took place between 1915 and 1923, which led to the tragic loss of approximately 1.5 million Armenian lives. To understand the Armenian Genocide, one must delve into the backdrop of the late Ottoman Empire. A multi-ethnic empire that had existed for centuries, the Ottoman realm was under severe strain by the early 20th century. The empire had lost territory in a series of wars and was called the sick man of Europe by Western powers. Meanwhile, ethnic nationalism was gaining momentum across Europe, influencing minority groups within the empire, including the Armenians. Armenians had lived in the region known today as Armenia, Eastern Turkey, and beyond for millennia. They had their own distinct culture, language, and religion, Christianity, which set them apart from the predominantly Muslim Ottoman Turks. While Armenians had generally coexisted with their Muslim neighbors, tensions escalated due to social, economic, and religious differences. The Ottoman rulers became increasingly apprehensive of the Christian Armenians, particularly after the empire's loss in the Russo-Turkish War 1877 to 1878, which triggered a rise in nationalism and reform movements. The initial stages of the genocide are often traced to April 24, 1915, which is commemorated annually as Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day. On this day, the Ottoman government, led by the Committee of Union and Progress, CUP, arrested around 250 Armenian intellectuals and community leaders in Constantinople, now Istanbul. The majority were eventually executed, setting a dark precedent for what was to follow. The larger extermination campaign began under the guise of wartime expediency. As First World War was raging, the Ottoman government began mass deportations of Armenians to the Syrian desert. Men, women, and children were forcibly removed from their homes and made to march hundreds of miles without adequate food, water, or shelter. Many were killed outright. Others died from exhaustion, starvation, or disease. The methods employed during the genocide were as diverse as they were brutal. Alongside mass shootings and death marches, there were reports of rape, pillaging, and the destruction of cultural heritage sites. Churches were desecrated and entire villages were burned to the ground. In some cases, Armenians were drowned en masse in rivers or crammed into caves that were subsequently set on fire. The consequences of the genocide are far-reaching. Families were torn apart and a rich cultural history was nearly eradicated. Survivors scattered across the globe, forming a diaspora that would struggle for decades to come to terms with the tragedy. The loss of life and property also had a profound economic impact, and the cultural void left in the wake of the genocide is a wound that has yet to heal. Adding insult to injury, the Armenian Genocide has been a subject of controversy and denial, primarily by the Republic of Turkey, the successor state to the Ottoman Empire. While numerous historians, countries, and international organizations recognize the events as genocide, Turkey has persistently argued that the deaths were a result of civil unrest and wartime casualties, not a systematically planned extermination. However, the fight for recognition has gained traction over the years. In recent decades, more countries and institutions have officially recognized the Armenian Genocide, and efforts to educate the public have intensified. As we've seen, this wasn't just a tragedy for the Armenian people, but a brutal lesson in the devastating consequences of extreme nationalism and abuse of power. We need to confront denial and seek justice so that history does not repeat itself.